It was 4-4 for Carlos Prates as he knocked out Neil Magny at UFC Vegas 100. All this and more coming up next on Fighting with Friends. And gentlemen, welcome back to Fighting with Friends, the undisputed African fighting podcast of the world. Speaking of champions, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me today the reigning, defending, undisputed vegan champion of the world and our chief analyst here at the CPS Reports. That is, of course, Brother Guy.
What's up? What's up, AD?
Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm all good. I'm all good. So yeah, bro, it is a UFC 100, UFC Vegas 100, and we did see pretty much what we expected here. We saw Carlos Prates finish Neil Magny. Unfortunately, regarding the betting side of things, we did go for the second round, and we were very, very close to that. Carlos Prates obviously getting the knockout just about 10 seconds before the end of round one. So, BG, we're going to start at the top of the card with that main event. So, what can you tell us here, bro?
Performance of the night as well for Carlos Prates. Yeah, the fight played out exactly the way we thought it was going to do. Like you say, we thought it was going to happen a bit later, maybe in the second round. I didn't think it was going to end that quickly. I will say this, though, AD. For the first 3.5 minutes of that first round, I thought Magny was doing okay. I thought he was going to start doing what he does normally with fighters, which is, get them back against the cage, overwhelm them with the mix up between wrestling and striking, and he was doing that, and he was trying it for the most part. And I had Carlos, not necessarily like looking like he was a bit confused, but more I had to make Carlos be a bit more patient because he couldn't just go in there and do what he wanted to do. He really had to actually defend the takedowns and defend the striking exchanges, and he was doing that really well. Because once he let Neil Magny go in doing that, then he gets going there, and then it's hard to claw it back to victory because he's put so much on you for that first 2 rounds. But I think there was a moment. I think it was after that 3rd minute in the first round. I'm not sure what changed. It could be something that Carlos Prates' coaches had said in his ring because they were shouting at him from the corner. And for some reason, he just started putting on heavy pressure on Neil Magny. Like, he didn't do it for the first part of the fight. He was actually very back-footed. And then he started going forward, hands down, peeping wobbling side to side, trying to set up Neil Magny and really make him think twice. And I think he actually dropped Neil Magny in the round, if I'm not mistaken, before obviously going to the closing sequence. Because Neil Magny looked very shaky after getting up from that knockdown. He tried to stand up and he was looked a bit wobbly, but he was trying to move a lot. I think what Neil Magny did to survive long enough was actually clinch really well when he was getting caught in the exchanges. There's a moment where he actually took Prates' left hand and then kept it underneath his armpit like this and then walked forward with him so he doesn't really take any more damage. But then Carlos Prates got his hand free and then again walked Neil Magny down and then landed that slick left hand that didn't really land very cleanly, but it did land. Honestly, I rewinded the fight probably 4 or 5 times and still couldn't see how the fucking punch landed until I watched the replay. And I was like, oh my word, it did actually hit him. Because like you saw picture off camera, I did feel like Neil Magny took a dive, but he didn't. It was something that landed on him. And he was on shaky legs prior to that knockout. So I think it's safe to say that the end was near, that the finish was going to come. It looked like the finish was going to come very soon. And yeah, it came in the first round instead of the second round. And like we say, performance of the night for Carlos Prates. Dude's fucking dangerous, bro. Carlos Prates is dangerous because Neil Magny did get him to the ground. And then Neil Magny got to get up again. There was a moment where he snatched the leg, single leg. And Carlos defended it, stood up, told Neil Magny stand up. Let's fucking bang, bro. And yeah, he did exactly what he said he was going to do and get that performance and get the finish. Top stuff for the fighting nerds.
Absolutely, bro. And yeah, I do agree with your breakdown of the fight there, which kind of leads us to, we have to look at this Magny 0 of 7 for takedowns. So do you think that Carlos Prates showed that he does possess the takedown offense to go with his striking to be a legitimate contender in the welterweight division?
I would love to see. I would love to see him actually get up, like being taken down. He was able to defend those takedowns really well, but they weren't really shot in a way that if I can look for a good wrestler, like Okay, let's look at. I know it's a reach, but let's just take the blueprint of Islam Makhachev and look how he wrestles and how he takes you down, for example, right? Neil Magny doesn't do anything like that. So I would reserve my answer for when I see Carlos Prates in a position where he's actually fighting a very, very powerful elite wrestler. Because Neil Magny's best attribute is not his wrestling. His best attribute is his gas tank, and he's able to go wrong and overwhelm you with mixing things up, but he doesn't really beat you in one particular way. Um, I will say this though, to lightly answer the question, Carlos Prates never looked worried when Neil Magny did try and take him down and try to clinch with him. He didn't look like I want to get out of here as quickly as possible so I can go back to standing with him. He was patient. He did take his time getting out of the grappling exchanges, and he did it step by step. Break the arm loose. Break the wrists and break the grip from Neil Magny. He did all of the right things to do in a very patient way, and that for me is very encouraging.
All said, BG. Final one on this fight. We did see Neil Magny call out Jeff Neal. So who do you
Did he call out
think
Jeff
he
Neal?
fights? Yeah, he called out Jeff Neal. Called out Jeff
Surprising.
Neal as well as I think there was another call out. It might have been Machado Gary. But yeah, who would you like to see him fight next, bro? I know off camera we were talking about Marias. But I kind of feel like those are two young talents that they're both trying to kind of nurture and kind of slowly phase into this division. So,
Absolutely.
what are your thoughts here, BG?
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more in that area. As a fight fan, I would love to see Michael Morales and Pratis go. But I think if the UFC is doing what you say they are doing and, almost like building their careers up patiently, we're definitely going to see the two of them fight each other in the top five when they do a number one contender spot. But for now, in terms of Carlos Pratis, I didn't know you called out Jeff Neal. I probably must have misheard that one. That would be a good fight. That would be a very good fight, especially if you look at the careers. Both of them are very young. It would make the most sense to fight against these legends or these guys who are in the top of the division for a long time, because then it means that if you beat them, no, the fans are obviously going to eat it up. Thinking about, look, they took out Jeff Neal, who just beat Rafael dos Anjos, you got, and also among other fighters as well. There's Wonderboy Thompson that's there. There's I think Vicente Lucas got a fight, if I'm not mistaken. But personally, I would say
Yeah,
give
he's
him.
fighting Nick Diaz at this weekend, actually, UFC
Oh, there we
310.
go. There we
Yeah.
go. So I would like to see him. He's obviously not going to get Michael Morales. Give him Jeff Neal. Give him Jeff
Mm.
Neal. Jeff Neal came up for win. He's coming up for win. You got a legend against a prospect. Perfect. Let them go at it.
Yeah, it does make the most sense there, BG. I will agree with that. But okay, BG, let's keep it going. And here we go to the middleweight division where we saw Reinier de Ridder, fresh out of the one championship, defeat Gerald Meerschaert by a third round submission. So, BG,
Yeah.
as far as de Ridder's performance here goes, bro, how impressed were you with his debut?
Um, I'm a bit 50-50 with it, to be quite honest. Gerald Meerschaert was piecing him up in the standing department. I mean, the Ridder did what I thought he was going to do, which was establish that teep kick, because that was his number one weapon in the one championship as well. That's it. That usually sets up his submissions, is when he keeps opponents like constantly, because his boxing is not the greatest, but his kickboxing's alright, and he keeps really well and he kicks really well, and that usually sets up the grappling exchanges, and that's what got him the victory. But I wasn't impressed in the way he was defending the boxing from Meerschaert, because Meerschaert's not the best boxer, and Meerschaert was landing on him the whole time. Every time Meerschaert entered, he landed, and then you could see how busted up Reinier face was round one and round two. It was so red, and it was like he was taking a lot of damage. But for some reason, he didn't go down. He looked a bit wobbly, but he didn't go down, and he stuck it through. And you could see that the leg kicks and the deep kicks was wearing on Meerschaert, and also just the the thing that Ridder did really well was he was making it scrappy, in the sense of when they got close, he clinched him and schoolyard him with the headlock, and maybe pulled him with one arm clinch, and made Meerschaert have to defend this uncomfortable position that kind of does make you tired. And that's what made the takedowns a little bit easier in the third round. And when he did get that takedown, Ridder's very famous for landing the arm triangle. It's one of his favorite submissions that he does as well. So I think once he got into that position, you could see the rest was history, because you could see how comfortable the Ridder was once he got that top control. Then he scooted into full mount and then scooted over into side control. He did it all in the correct process, and landed the choke so well. And good finish, good performance. Not the greatest performance, but not many fighters get knockouts or finishes on their debut, especially in the UFC, because it's not that easy to get it done in the UFC. So to come in with all this hype around him and also pressure to perform because of the former doubleweight champion, but meant that he had to do something. And if he didn't get the finish, probably would have gotten booed, but he got the finish. So well done.
Yeah, fair play to the RDR on the night. Excuse me. Unfortunate for Meerschaert. I do feel like if he had won this fight, he would have been able to ask for a ranked opponent, but
Yeah.
not so on the night. And so BG, this is of course the middleweight division where
Yes.
Dricus du Plessis is the champion. So as far as RDR goes here, bruh, you think he's ready for a ranked opponent, or would you like to see him get another fight first?
Looking at the ranked opponents, I don't know. Hey, the only thing that'll probably make him ready is because of the status he comes in with. Former doubleweight champion, grappling champion. He's got all these credentials that make for him to be able to call someone out. But that you just coming into the UFC now, and if you look at that list on the screen, right? Shada won his fight, still undefeated. Anthony Hernandez has won his last 3 fights. Jacob Manson, I don't know if he's still in the UFC, so maybe give him Jacob Manson, but I would, because I don't even know why he's got ranked 12 next to his name if he hasn't fought in a while. And I think he lost his last fight, if I'm not mistaken. Michel Pereira as well. Maybe give him Michel Pereira. If he beats Michel Pereira, then he can then say, right now I'm here. I'm officially in the ranking of the UFC. Maybe he can fight the guy that just won. It was early on the card. Abdul, what was his name? Mansour Abdul.
Mansour Abdul Malik. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he gets that guy or the other Abdul Hassan. One of the two of them could be a very good fight for him. Because I do feel like the top 15 of the middleweight division, these guys are deserved of their rankings, man. They've done enough in the UFC to be positioned where they are right now.
Fair comment, PG. So yeah, speaking of Mansour Abdul Malik, he did look impressive, getting a first round knockout here against Dusko Todorovic. So yeah, that was a great performance. He got a performance of the night. Anything else you want to highlight on the card here, PG, before we keep it moving?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I think, very good from Mansour. Obviously, the ground and pound was sickening. It was almost every punch he landed, it was like, no, don't look at it. It was it was mad to watch. Like very, very, I wouldn't say disturbing. That's not the right word to use, but it was a bit difficult to watch because it was just a beatdown of hell.
Brutal. Yeah.
That on that note, though, AD, and I will add this. Because we're not obviously going to cover the rest of the card too much. I will add this on that note of Mansour winning the fight in that fashion. The opponent that he fought against, what is his name? Dusko
Todorovic. Yeah.
Todorovic. Yeah. On that note, I've watched this man fight quite frequently in the UFC. Sorry, and I don't know why he's employed. I don't know why the UFC's got him there. He doesn't win. He's won 2 fights in the last 8, 80. 2 in the last 8. Why on earth is this guy still at the UFC? Why is he contracted? So that then leads to my next point. My next point then is maybe some of the fighters on the squad are there because they are only employed to be tune-up fights for people who can potentially make it further. So it's like if they had given Mansour the other Abdul, maybe Mansour would have lost that fight. Maybe they've been too competitive. You know what I mean? And I also feel this is my next point. The last 2 events the last 3 events of the UFC, they've only accumulated, I think, 4 finishes in total of all 3 events combined. So there's like they needed something because the fans started talking about what's up with the UFC, why is no one getting finished, what's up with the new gloves, all the constant conspiracy theories coming out. So it's like, what next? So I personally feel like the UFC's put this particular card together in a way. So it's like matching opponents that can potentially end in finishes, like very high chance they all end in finishes. Because if you look at the card, I think the first 3 fights all ended in finishes. First 4 actually, 5. The first 5 all ended in finishes, right? And then there was a decision, which is the main event on the prelim. Then a finish, then a decision, then a decision, then a finish, and then a finish. So 3 decisions in all the fights. You know what I mean? So UC must have matched the fights up in a way of like, let's put the fights together where people are probably going to get tapped out or knocked out, and then here we go. And that's how I personally felt about this fight card, to be honest. And that's I just ended over there.
Very interesting perspective there, brother Gaia. Very interesting angle indeed. Yeah, let us know what your thoughts are regarding just the quality of the UFC in general and what you thought of this card as well. quite a few finishes, more than usual, as BG
Mm.
did. But okay, BG, we can keep it moving now, and we're just gonna take a quick check in with our bull collectors.
Damn it! 60 G's, baby!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is As a Betting Man, and I'm happy to report that we are officially 2-2 since we started
Yeah.
this segment as its own segment on the CPS report. So yeah, officially 2-2 with our conservative parlays. Came very close with the Prates knockout. He unfortunately did get the first round KO. We went for the
Mm.
second round with just 10 seconds left on the clock in that first round. And yeah, we will be happy to bring you our next segment of As a Betting Man here.
Mm.
When we look to our next card, which is, of
Yes.
course, UFC 310, and this is John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. So we'll bring
Ooh.
you a full analysis and preview for this one in the coming week. But BG, just a few words you want to say on this one before we wrap it up?
On this particular card, or for the card we just
On,
watched?
on the card in general, this one, Jones Miocic.
Jones Miocic. Firstly, exciting to see both these guys come back. Because for the last 4 years, the names are always constantly on people's mouths, but they're not fighting. So just anxious, but also excited to see the main event, and obviously the rematch between Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler is also sickening to watch. That's going to be really wonderful. I think that's going to be a bloody fight, to be honest with you. Bo Nickel and Paul Craig. That could be another potential matchup that's favoring the Bo Nickel, and I feel like the UFC is purposeful with that one. Um, yeah, I think that's about it really. But I don't want to give too much away. I want to save a lot of my thoughts for when we're actually doing the preview and the betting man. So keep a lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. Coming soon.
Fair point, PG. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you had made it this far in the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It does help us out a lot. But PG, once again, thank you very much for your time
Thank you.
today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll catch you later on this week on Fighting with Friends.